Hey guys, Codeberry's here today, so hope you're all doing well. Today we're just going to do a market analysis, just a broad market analysis. So we'll start with crypto just to see how it's doing. Then if we have time, we'll do some other things. Maybe a little forex is pretty quiet right now. It's still Asia. It's getting onto London, but there isn't much happening. There wasn't anything. The market was pretty flat on Friday. That's why I didn't do any calls on my trading view or any video then. So we'll just start with, we'll do a little bit of cannabis and maybe some like other stuff if we have time. So we'll start with Bitcoin. So today, actually let's start with the weekly. So we did have that dump. So with that dump, it seems like we'll probably maybe come back up to that half line. It looks like we do have a little bit of momentum starting for maybe some bullish momentum. It won't last. Like, this is just a weekly retrace. The reason why is because on the higher time frames, such as the monthly, we have things starting to cross down here, as we said. This blue line will eventually connect with this yellow line, and we'll get a cross down, most likely something like this, as we discussed before. We'll see a lot of we'll see the months go to red, and then once we get here back in inflection, then we'll talk about the going long. So not right now. So definitely not right now. You want to wait till it's red and then showing some momentum to the upside, or else you can get caught. If you want to buy when it's red, well, you can get caught for a while. So yeah, so we have the RSI default still moving down. Nothing here really. We just got to cross down this month on the faster MACD. This one hasn't crossed down yet. Shorter moving average. Just a few days we're below it, so perhaps we might come back a little bit higher in December. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe back up to 52, 53. That's why if we go back to the weekly, actually, we did come low, so, and we are showing some momentum starting here to the upside. That line will also, it works both ways, right? So it will connect with that line again. Whether that orange line does move like this first, then we get this line, and then when this moves a little bit more, then we get a little bit like that, then it connects. Finally we connect. Then maybe we get something like that. Then it wants to come back down. That's how it works, right? That's not exactly how it might look. It might look a little different, maybe higher, a little bit lower, something like that, but it will connect with this line again. So if you are shorting at this exact time, I'd probably wait till it gets, once you're MACD or like whatever you have for momentum. These are faster settings again, but you want to be in the positive side if you're shorting, positive infinity, and if you're going long, you want to be on the negative infinity. But again, we have the that's a smaller time, so weekly smaller than the monthly. So again, we still have, people probably still are shorting here because we haven't crossed down, as we said. So if you're looking for a scalp, you might get something on a long here. Oh, that just, oh no, yeah, it's still showing a little bit of bullish momentum. That can change, right? But overall, we will connect with that line again. So maybe you're getting a scalp here. What's the daily looking like? The daily, I mean, if we came that low on the Keltner channels, just by experience, we'd probably get back up here. That's maybe not that high, but maybe, like, you know, that's what we said. Probably get above that yellow line at some point. Why do I know that? Well, because this is just a Keltner channel. You come low, you swing low, and you come back up. So look, it's like a moving average. See this? Let's say this yellow line here is a moving average of some number. Let's say it's like 9. Then see how we cross down, and then we come up. Or yeah, we cross up. So So we cross down, then we cross up, then we come down, then we came down, so now we'll probably come back up, and then at some other time we'll come down, and then some other time we'll come up. So hopefully that makes sense to you. I'm talking about this yellow line. See, we're coming down, then we're coming up here. We crossed down the yellow line, now we've crossed up, so we've crossed down, so we've crossed up, then we crossed down. Now we're currently down, so I'll skip all that middle part. So we crossed down, so what will probably happen, I mean, it's possible of course for it to just dump here, but again, at some point in time later on we'll come back up. So that's how it works. Hopefully it's not too confusing. So let's just remove all that garbage lines, all those garbage lines from here. So what's the RSI looking like, the daily RSI? Well, we've came low, right? We've came low. We haven't come that low since, well, since September. Was it really September? Wow. So we haven't been that low since September, so, I mean, we got lower than that. And before that was July. So we'll probably get something back up there, unless we dump a little bit more first. But probably eventually we'll, as we said, we'll get up here a little bit again. Probably back into the 50s, and if we'll check, and then probably we'll come back down based on the other data. We might get a swing up here. We could, it doesn't mean we're gonna get a huge swing like this, right? Probably not with the momentum. Even these, you know, there's a swing down here and a swing up, then a swing down. See, these swings downs look pretty big. Like we could just get something like this. That's what I'm thinking, because there's not too much room there based on that monthly MACD crossing down. You want to work, you want to go big, and then you want to work in, right? Like a derivative kind of. So that's about it. It is showing a little bit of bearish momentum here, but that could change. Maybe it wants to go a little deeper before it comes up again, so that could happen. Hopefully I'm not confusing anybody. But if you were trying to trade this, just trade, not invest, I'd wait for a dump, or like a long opportunity. I'd wait for a dump to scalp maybe back to the midline, like that. Or you wait for a spike and you short. So that's usually what you want to do. You want to look to, this is kind of the beginning of the day, so you want to kind of look closer to the end of the day, maybe at least tomorrow, not right now. So later on, I don't know what time zone you're in, but this is, it's 10:30 right now for me at night. I'm in the Vancouver time zone, so west coast of the North America, so that's like Seattle, California, stuff like that. So it's pretty early. I think we have a few other time zones before us, like Hawaii, but we're up there. Like we got Alaska, I think, and then Hawaii. So we're on the very back of everyone. We're not Hawaii here, but we're 2 hours after that. So I mean, most people are probably on the East Coast, or perhaps in the general time zone, I think, for like London and stuff, Dublin. So it's pretty early here. I check. I think the Bitcoin new day starts at 5 o'clock. It's different than Forex at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening. Whatever that is in 24-hour time, 1700. Forex is at 2 o'clock, so that's 1400, I think. So yeah, so I check closer to at least after whatever that is converted to your time. Like for me, I'd wait till tomorrow, maybe 6 a.m. I'd start, if you're really looking, I'd start looking, and probably around 10 to like 2 in the afternoon, that's when I'd start looking. And you want to look for big spikes to short or big dumps to long. That's pretty much, that's the best advice I could give you. For the 4 hour, we're getting high, we're starting to get high up here, so I just watch it. I just wait. I wouldn't really try to come into the middle and start trading at this exact time. I'd wait for like this to kind of get like a red, something like this at least, some kind of bigger candle like that. I don't know the ranges for crypto as much, mostly Forex. But there probably is a good range you can find here. So I'd have a look at that. We'll talk about oil actually too. 2 hour coming up about flat actually, about mid. Nothing really too interesting. 15 we had a dump earlier on. I guess at New Day we dumped a little bit, 248. Is that the lowest? Oh, how low have we been actually? Okay, so we didn't get down to the 40s, like the low 40s. We're high 40s right now. Maybe we were at 48 earlier. So one thing to note that when the New Day started, that we did have a dump. So it opened at exactly the New Day. I know you're gonna say, well, it's always open, but the new candle. That's what the people on StockTwit said. But a new daily candle opens up at, I think it's 5 o'clock, 1700 at least, my time, UTC -8. If you're in New York, that's like 8 p.m. 2000 hours. So I think that's when a new day starts. So it had a huge red, a few more, and then it got bought up here. So we're coming about halfway. That's why we might see some bearish momentum starting. That's probably because it's we're maybe starting a bearish market now because it's just coming up halfway to the midline. It's not really coming up here high, and then it's probably most likely continuing down, at least for this time zone, because you can for this time frame, because you can see that we have this perhaps starting to cross over, but we could continue up. Most likely I'd wait for, as I said, I'd wait for a spike or a dump to get in. If you're trading this, if you're investing long term, I definitely not buy right now. As we said, I'd wait for this to get, if you're investing. I try to do that from now on. If you're investing or if you're trading, if you're long term investing, I'd wait till it looks like this, red. We've got a lot of negative infinity here, negative inflection, and then you see some positive, you see a positive infinity inflection, right? Because if you look, if you zoom in on this, if you did calculus 2 or 1, I think they do this in calculus 2, but you can see that there's some numbers here in the top left corner, and I have like night mode on, so it doesn't show the colors, but this one, it's at like, what is that, 700 something, so I think it might be on the left number here, 770 it will say in a sec, 770 something. See, 770 point, what does that say, 97? So if you see, if I go to the next one, it's less. So that's 2 positive infinity because the numbers were added, correct? Because these are negative numbers, so it increased. Because it's negative, because it's over this side of the 0 line. So hopefully that makes sense. So if that would happen, that's when I would wait to buy again. Well, does that look like a time right now? Definitely not. Definitely not. So hopefully that helps anyone who's just trying to get in Bitcoin and just sit and wait like several months or longer. I'd wait for that. So we'll move on to ETH. Same idea. We're actually starting to get, wow, we haven't gotten here before, so this is pretty important here. Well, there is ETH 2.0 coming out. I'm not a super expert on ETH 2.0, but I know you won't be able to mine it anymore. They're taking out, I'm not sure of all the terms, but they're taking out, like, I'm good with trading. I can trade like any instrument you want. I could tell you what's gonna happen pretty much, but I'd want, for like all that mining specific stuff, I'm not really an expert at this time, but I just know that there's a new Ethereum coming out and we won't be able to mine it anymore. But just back to trading, you can see that this is crossing from overbought, overbought to neutral. Well, not neutral, but heading there. And we haven't had that since, wow, see how long ago it was when we got into the zone? That was November 2020. That was over a year ago. And finally we're crossing down, so that's not good. That's not a good sign. Definitely not a good sign. Once that gets crossed, a lot of algorithms will get triggered, like trading algorithms. And honestly, a quick dump to 2300 looks pretty obvious here. And I'm thinking back to, we talked about it last time, about the moving average. I'll just go over it again for people that didn't watch, and also how it changed. But yeah, this hasn't crossed down. It's much higher than Bitcoin, and we haven't had a cross down in a long time. So this dump could be huge. With ETH 2.0, you won't be able to mine it, so less people would be buying ETH. It's not looking good right now. If you're holding Ethereum, I would actually cash it out if I were you, and buy it at a later time, as we said, when in an investing kind of, if you're going investing on this, and I'd kind of wait for something like that, an inflection, you know, negative infinity, something like that. I wouldn't be buying here. You want to be under that yellow line definitely when you're buying, most likely down here. That's the best zone to buy, would be closer to that bottom blue line. This one here. That bottom channel, so it's the one underneath the yellow one. So it's down here. That's where I'd look. Another thing I can show you. Yes, we do have that RSI. That's big. That's a default RSI crossing down back into neutral, which would mean it'd probably start moving towards neutral. And doesn't look like it has been less than 40, so that's still a long way from where we are, though. For weekly, as we said last time, we wait for this to get below the 200-day exponential moving average again to go long. So have a look. Where is that? Can't even see it. No, where is it? Is it not showing? Where's that guy? Okay, yeah, it is. There it is. So it doesn't start till here because it needs a certain amount of days to calculate the formula to get the 200-day moving average. So if anyone's wondering why it just appears there, where is it? Here, right there. It's because you need a certain amount of days after the instrument is trading to calculate. That's probably 200 days before it actually is able to calculate a formula to do all the math. You add up all the days, and then, or the weeks in this case, for bars. You add up all the weeks, so it's 200 a week moving average, I guess in this case. You add up you add each day, and then you divide it by 200. And then there's maybe some other exponential formula to get the average. So that's why it starts there. So at that time it got low, and then we had a run, and then now we're waiting for it to cross back down, and then that's when it would be a time for it to go long after it crosses back down. We don't have that on the monthly because there's not 200 months. It's still new. It's a new asset. It hasn't been 200 months yet. Maybe in the next few years we'll probably get some data to go off for the monthly, and that would help a lot as well. So today's a new week. We have a red inflection here. Oh, I should have did that with Bitcoin too. So today's Sunday every week. So every bar starts on Sunday, at least in my time zone in North America. It's Sunday, so you'll get a new, not a red bar, but you get a new histogram bar every Sunday. It might be Monday where you live. Probably if you live in Asia, it'll be Monday for you. So yeah, so basically we have a new bar today. This one's red, or it's still red. It just crossed down last week. It's not a good sign. Probably why ETH is dumping today. That's default MACD, by the way. Faster MACD, we got another red one. RSI moving down, starting to move down. Sorry, I'll just go just mention that in Bitcoin today. So we had another. So this is Sunday. It's a new week open. So same idea. We have a red bar to start the week. So we're opening red here. As you can see, we're down 1,031 points at this current time. Opening red week here on Ethereum. Nothing else to really go off. Actually, the chart does look a little different. We could get back down here because so it's kind of a little bit different than Bitcoin. Usually Ethereum moves a little slower than Bitcoin, but maybe I'll just draw this. But so actually it stayed above, of course, on this bull run. Mostly it dips down a few times, so we crossed up, then it kind of crossed down, had a spike down, spike up, spike down. It's a little series of down movement, spike up, touched, spike up, crossed. We haven't really gotten under there, but we had a little touch before it got bought up quickly. Now we could see there could be starting more momentum heading down, so we'll probably maybe get some closes here, some actual candle closes. These are just fishtails, so it's not really a red. It's not nothing red in here, which actually closes below. So I'm almost 100%, like 99.9% sure that we'll get a close here below once again. Whether that line moves up a little bit first, we should get a close below, with that MACD pointing that high at that time. At this time, it's almost for sure that we'll come down again. And other things, RSI moving down, all that stuff. Yeah, so we'll probably come back below that yellow line at some point, probably come back down below that channel, and we'll eventually come back below this line. And that's when we come below this line, we'll talk about the next bull run. How long was it there last time? July 2019. Ooh, kind of for a while. It might move a little faster now because more people buy it, more retail investors. It's kind of more mainstream than it was back then. Maybe, let's say half of that. That's about a year. No, it's about 10 months. So I'm thinking maybe half. So anywhere from 5 to 10 months of being below that line. Once we get there, that's just an approximation. So we could see, bearish for a while. We haven't even got below that line. Then we'll talk about some momentum moving up. But overall, if you were to buy below the 200-day moving average, I mean, if you're just like, okay, we'll use the monthly, but let's just say you bought here. You bought at 161 bucks. It would have went down to 94, so you would have been out for a while. But then, of course, you would have made money. Is there any momentum here? There's some momentum there. So once it gets down there, we'll talk about it. When to buy in. Right now, shorting is probably the best thing to do, or just wait, because you don't really want to short on leverage. And not like this. You want to wait for a spike, or like a huge spike, then short, or a huge dump, then buy. So nothing out of the ordinary today. No flash crashes, none of that. So it's just it's still moving, mostly down. That's what we're looking at. Daily, we could actually, let's look at the channels first. So let me just remove all that junk. Kind of flat right now. We're not. It does look like it wants to dump though a little bit more. Maybe that'll take our RSI back down below oversold. Then we'll talk about probably coming back up at that point, maybe about halfway, and then same kind of pattern happening here. If we were to dump based on the MACD for the monthly. So what happens? Well, we come up. 200-day. This is now the daily 200-day. We come down. Maybe test a couple times. We come up. We haven't really been down. We touched. We haven't closed. So I'd say we'd probably close below that 200-day. And that could probably bring us down another 1,000 points. So I'd wait. Definitely would not buy here. a lot of people on the stock twits, on stock twits, they're saying, oh well, they don't understand. They think like, yeah, it's just goes up forever. Like they don't really understand, because I don't really blame them though, because I guess when they started trading or investing, they keep buying crypto and it just kept going up. They bought crypto and it just kept going up, and then it went up to what, like 63 or 65, 64, something like that. Then it dumped, and then they bought, and then it just went up, and then it went to like 67. So they have the idea that, oh, it's gonna break up, it's gonna break higher again, right? It's gonna go to 70, then it's gonna come down, then it's gonna go to 80, then it's gonna come down, then it's gonna go to 100, then it's gonna come down. That's what they think. They don't understand. Well, when they see it go back to 10, they're gonna like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it will come down. So then they'll learn, well, the market changes, right? They don't really understand. I've watched this cycle several times, right? So I understand what's happening here. Like they don't really, a lot of, like for me even, it took me a long time just to get up over the day. I was like, well, why do I want to look at the weekly? It's so big. I mean, it's so big. There's nothing happening here. It's just like, what's the point? Like it's gonna take a whole week for the bar to change. I mean, what's the point? Well, if that's the case, then why would I look at the monthly? It's gonna take a whole month for the bar to change. There's no point in looking at that. Well, there's a lot, and that's what a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people say the same thing. So they don't really get higher than the daily. And if you get higher than the daily, you can see what's really going to happen. I tried to explain that to a friend. He was like, well, why would I want to go up there? It's such a big candle. I mean, it doesn't even move. That's what I thought before too. Anyway, so we kind of see the long-term trend here. And we can see the 4 hours pretty flat right now. Maybe a little bit of momentum to the downside. And that's about it. We'll just have a look at Dodge too. That doesn't look too good. Looks like Elon kind of sold his shares. Didn't really mention it. That's pretty steep though. There's nothing steep about that yet. Or that. I mean, it took a long time for it to cross, right? That just looks like some market maker just dumped his shares real quick. That's what it looks like. Honestly, that's what it looks like. I mean, yeah, that's pretty high volatility. Do we get anything on? I guess we did for those. But I mean, I don't think banks are really buying Dogecoin. To be honest, they're just buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're more stable, right? They're higher in value. They have more history. There's lots more history for that. Calculate your algorithms. Much less history. A lot of low prices here. Could we get back into those low prices? I mean, it's probably, right? This is its first run, so there's not much data to calculate your algorithms from. Honestly, I'd see it coming back down here, to be honest, through that channel, right? Because it's gonna come up that yellow line, and it's gonna come down. So I'm thinking, you know, back down into the sub pennies, back down there, then it'll get bought up. Well, someone may say, well, what about sheep? Could that happen to sheep? Well, the answer is probably not. Why is that? Is because we don't have any data here. There's no data here. That means it's probably, there's no data to be calculate anything. That RSI here, that default RSI, it's probably down here. It's so low that it's not even showing it, right? We don't have anything to calculate here. We just have the weekly to go off. And what do you know? We have some bullish momentum starting. Sheep is low, it's cheap, and there's no data, so I could tell you that it's probably going to be going up. I mean, worst comes to worst, we come back down and we quickly move up. But I don't really see it going too deep. I mean, there's no, anyone who's looking at this can see exactly what I'm seeing, and there's no data here. No data means that it's cheap, and that RSI, it doesn't even have enough data to calculate, which means that it's most likely down there. And we've come below that shorter moving average as well. A lot of people out there, they don't believe in it. But there was something I saw on the news, some whale was buying like 300 million worth. Was that a day? That was on the weekend, I think I saw it. Some whale loaded up 99 billion Shiba Inu tokens. I think that was equivalent to like $300 million. So some whale, some shark, some big player, he wants to buy, or she wants to buy that much. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, that guy's pretty smart, or that woman's pretty smart. I mean, there's no data here. From experience, I can tell you that that RSI it's down here. A lot of people don't know it. It's probably even lower. It's maybe even down here. That default RSI is so low. There's no data to even calculate it. So that's just a trick that I picked up for new stocks, new coins and stuff. So anyways, we have this moving back up. I'm not really sure how what's gonna happen with the fall of the main coins and this. I mean, it is possible for other coins to pump in the meantime. It all really depends on the chart. So we do have some data here. I mean, we could maybe correct a little bit more and then come back up. But honestly, in the long run, just on the down low, to be honest, I mean, there's this will for sure get this. It already had a 10x. This so far since it's became popular. Well, obviously if you're buying here, but if you're buying around here, you still got a 10x on the last run. Something like that, or at least 8x, 8x to 10x. And if you break that, we'll probably get another 10x. So you're looking at 100x over the next few years. So probably before that, with you, even I'm thinking within the next year, you'll see it. We'll see 100x from here, especially if this continues, like whales loading up like that many tokens. So anyways, that's sheep. That's really it for crypto. We'll talk a little bit about cannabis. Forex is pretty flat right now, nothing to really mention. Canopy growth, we do have some monthly momentum here starting. The last 3 months we have the MACD converging together, so we have some red month closes. We have the faster MACD starting to move higher, starting to want to cross, starting to want to connect with that orange line and get some looks like a run to be starting at some time. This, as you can see, if you want to kind of look like what happened last time, well, it was touching that bottom. It's almost at 0 RSI, shorter time frames, shorter time period RSIs. When it kind of did that last time, as you can see, we did get some green months, and then it just kind of took off. So we're starting to get in that zone. If you look back here to November 2019, we're kind of starting to look like that. You know, maybe we're at September, October. We had the third month, 3 months. So 3 months blue, and then it's like if we're talking about now, we're having 3 months of bars that are closing higher for MACD. So if you kind of take those two, average them out, we're probably maybe around November or December 2019. So I think we could be starting to move higher pretty soon. We are kind of trailing below here on the 0 line here for the RSI. Last time that happened, we did have a spike. Not saying that's going to happen again, but we are getting pretty low here, lower on the default RSI than where we were last time. Weekly, we are getting at that bottom channel, by the way, the blue channel. We're starting to get below there. We're starting to get there pretty close. Again, that can move higher as well. It's not for sure that it would come down there either, right? But we know we are moving. We are starting to get some momentum there. We do have the weekly starting. Also, the weekly's a little bit of a different story. We do have this crossing over. We did have that crossover and it kind of came down, but I think Friday this was green actually. This red bar was green in the Friday, maybe Friday or Thursday. Thursday it was green, or maybe Friday morning. It was green. We do have the weekly RSI coming quite low here, low to the point of where we were last time. So yeah, we are starting to diverge here. Converge. We did come there when it got low, and then moved down a little bit for a few more weeks. Then it moved up. So you know that kind of looks like what's happening here. So I can tell you for sure next year we are going to be going up. And when we do go up, well, what's going to happen? We'll come up to that half line, the yellow line. We'll probably come up here. We'll come up high. Let's say we don't come up that high, or definitely, maybe not definitely, but not for sure we'll come up that high again. But if you take that and divide it by 2, well, that would be that. Well, if you take that and you take that and you divide it by 2, averaging, you'd say we definitely see $28 again. That's 3 times of what it is now. So I'm sure a lot of people are starting to kind of buy in. You know, we will start to move up pretty soon. And for sure we will move up. CGC always moves up. Again, so you know, kind of big players, they buy, then they sell off, and then they buy again. So that's what's happening here. So just wait for it. I know it's a little slow. Also, the Omicron stuff is kind of shaking up the market as well. So yeah, just wait for it. It's nothing too bad. You know, just wait. It's coming soon. Don't worry about it if you kind of bought here and while you're still waiting. Just hold on. It's gonna come again. I mean, the whole stock market's like that right now. It's pretty much all like that. But we will see some momentum next year for sure. So don't worry. We have not come up above that 200-day moving average in a while. So of course we'll come back up. Don't worry about that. I can tell you that much. That we're gonna come back up. Don't worry. It may take a while, but guess what? We're gonna come back up. And it's been a while too. So if you see here, July 2019 took a year to come back up. So where is that? April 2021. So yeah, coming soon. You know, obviously it's starting to move up towards that line at some point. So yeah, we are coming up, and it's coming pretty soon. So don't worry, we are drifting pretty low there. As far as these go, when's the last? So a couple weeks ago we did come back up. Started some momentum up here. We did have a run here from like 11 to 16, and it kind of sold off again. So we will have another run here. Hopefully we'll kind of break that level, but we will come up again on the 4-hour and definitely on the day. I don't think I really want to go any lower than that. There's no point, but we'll just definitely come up again, as we said. Let's go to the weekly just to see. And how long has it been? It's been a while, like last time. We got below, and it looks like we're even lower than we were at that time. So, you know, if you kind of look at these lines here, how far away from the moving average we were. If you look here, you know, we're even more farther than we were last time. So a lot of big players will start coming in pretty soon to look for, if not already, and banks will be looking to buy cannabis soon. That's what I think. If not, like very soon. And the run should be starting pretty soon. So all of these, hopefully within the next few months. That's what I'm thinking. Like the big run, like that, like whatever. 4x, what's that? 9 times. That's more than 4. 9 times 8, 72. 9 times 8, 9 times. Yeah, maybe 6x. 6x. If we were to get a 6x from here, we'd come back up to 60. So a lot of people are seeing that they could get a 6x from this next year. So they'll probably be starting to look at it pretty soon. And the good thing is all the stocks move together. The whole sector should be moving together. The Cannabis ETF is mostly what is it? It's mostly cannabis growth, and I think Aurora. pot coin, kind of pretty flat. So yeah, they all look pretty similar. This is the ETF, another ETF. They all look similar and they all look low, so you know we'll be moving up pretty soon. This is a new stock here, starting to converge. Kind of trading roughly between 4 and, I think we had a high of 7, but mostly 4 and 5.5. Probably get a break. It's going to move with cannabis as well, so that's kind of the problem here. It moves with the sector, mostly. Tilray, kind of, I guess Tilray's a newer stock. But, no data on the monthly, that's a good thing. How is this? So we will get back up here at some point. That's a new stock, so not much data there. Pot X, that's a ETF. Aurora Cannabis getting low. This was actually lower at 1.3. Was it at 3s? I thought it was at 3s. Is this Canadian? I thought I did remember seeing it at 3s. Yeah, 3s. Did I say 3? Nope. I thought I did see 3s, maybe 3.99. So it did get to 4s, $4. We haven't. That was a huge dump. Look at how massive that was. 100 something. I don't remember looking at Aurora back here. But if that's true, that is just massive. Can you believe that? Buying it for $3 and selling at what, 150? Putting $1,000 in, or even putting 2,000, you'd have 100 grand or more. That's crazy. Imagine putting 10 grand. You'd be a millionaire. Anyway, so we'll probably be moving back up here at some point pretty soon, as we said. This is kind of like the dump, and it's moving up, so you know we'll definitely see that move back up here. So it looks like it is about a 6x like canopy growth at this time. If you're looking to buy, you'll get about a 6x return if you were to buy right now at its next peak, and the rest is all the same. So I think, yeah, we'll kind of move to oil now. So oil, we'll finish off on oil. The forex market's pretty flat, nothing too special happening, so we'll talk about that maybe later on this week. Oil, we did have that dump, the Omicron dump. Was it not? It wasn't just because of Omicron, but it was. Well, what was it? We don't really look at oil too often. Mostly divergence here. This is bearish divergence. We had the price increase. We have the RSI decreasing, MACD decreasing, both MACDs. Mostly just being traded here. Coming up high, as we said, low the EMA, high the EMA. Then it didn't get as high as it got low, which is probably a good thing. I mean, you don't want oil to be that cheap, but you definitely don't want oil. You'd rather have it cheaper than more expensive, because it's gonna contribute to inflation. And it doesn't look like it likes to hang above the EMA 200 too long. So definitely see that come back down, which is a good thing. Probably maybe soon with the Omicron stuff. Do I think it'll be coming down to that purpley line? Probably not. Maybe I'm thinking $50, because I don't like. I mean, with Biden's rules, or on his new green energy guidelines, shutting off the pipelines from Canada and all that, I don't see it staying below too long, because he's cutting off the supply. Excuse me, he's cutting off the supply, so the demand would go up. So I don't see it drifting, you know, below there for too long. I do see it. I do see it coming below for sure. 100%, it'll come below. If we're to use supports, probably maybe around there. I don't see it coming below 45. That's pushing it. I'm thinking 50, which is probably pretty healthy because it's too high right now. Groceries and all that is way too expensive. Heating oil, it's way too expensive for all that stuff. So coming back to low by 50, maybe he wants to push some more oil on the market. That would help. I mean, you don't just go green in one day, right? It takes like 50 years to change everything, at least 100 probably at the like. It takes 100 years to change, to create new energy sources and all that are green. So, anyways, but we might get a little bit higher first before we cross down, because we did come low. It looks like we're wanting to come up a little bit. Yeah. So that's actually that's not good. That is not good, though, at this point. We will come below there, but it looks like it wants to move up a little bit higher first, so that's probably not too good. But I mean, it's about 15 bucks away from the high. Does it mean it's gonna cross up? Doesn't mean that, but we could just get a little bit of a cross up. And how's monthly looking? Trading View's been lagging lately for some reason. Anyways, yeah, so we will still come down here probably next year. Excuse me. So above that line, will actually could get higher, to be honest. But we will come down below that channel. We'll come down to that channel. Like, we'll come below that yellow line for sure. Again, closer to that blue line, that first channel. Could it be drifting that high? I mean, I hope not. As far as it's coming up pretty high right now on the RSI. It is happening, and for it has to tie in with the other moving averages first. So I think would come up below, and if we are moving higher, then it should come below first, because we are kind of pushing up higher there. That's a whole year there. That's almost 2 years there. So yeah, I think we'd come below first. Maybe, over the next few years, could we get up there? It's possible. That wouldn't be a good sign. But, we did come up high on the RSI so far. We're crossing high right now. We're going to connect with that line again. We do have some momentum heading down as well. So what do I think right now? Well, I think that if we're gonna have a run, this run happened not quickly, but it happened in a few months here, like Bitcoin. So actually, well, it took a while for that to kind of cross down. How many years? Well, that was in the war, but it did touch that line. That's a touch. Can we look at the EMA weekly on the, what was that, 2001, right? 2001, something like that, when the war started. Okay, so we'll go back and look at the weekly moving average. Actually, we're going to need to go a lot farther back than that. Where are we here? Alright, so we came down, came up, came down, so we touched, came up, closed below, touch, mostly touch, nothing for a while here, came down, came up, and we came down. So if we were to just touch that line, well, we'd come down to a 58. Yeah, so we will come below, I can tell you that much, and we will definitely touch it again. As far as these channels go, that's why I said we'll probably be moving a little bit higher, because we did have that dump, the Omicron dump, and it'll probably come back up to the higher channel before once it continue down. That's why we probably have some bullish momentum here starting. Did that bar just start? I think it just did. Anyways, yeah, so that's for the daily. A little bit of bullish momentum here starting. Again, as we said, we could probably push back. Hopefully I'm not confusing anyone too much, but we could come back up to that. Not exactly there, but we probably push above that yellow line. Sorry, it's not going to that area. Okay, yeah, so we probably come back up here. Maybe not all the way, but we come up above that yellow line. So at least halfway. I'm thinking at least halfway, so we could see oil moving up a little bit higher until Christmas. And then after that, we'll go back to the weekly. Do we have any divergence here? We did have that divergence we talked about. That bit, the last since February 2021. As we said, a little bit of bullish momentum for the next few weeks. It looks like. Can I tell you anything for this for the next few months? Well, we're coming up high. Are we getting this though? That's the question. Are we getting maybe a touch and go kind of thing? Are we just going to touch that retracement area, that 200-day, and then just move up? Well, we'll come below there, that's for sure. At some point we'll come below that line, I can tell you that much. We did touch it though, so trade the channel though. It's kind of hard for me to say, well, yeah, oil's going to go to 100, well, or it's going to go to 50. But the thing is, we're coming up pretty high. We do, as we said, we would come below that weekly line most likely. That was a war, but Biden's he's kind of making it extreme, right, by cutting up all the supply. We did come up pretty high though, and we will come back below that channel again. Even if it moves up, we will. Well, for here we had a kind of a long time where we did stay up, but we will at least touch that center line. Well, we kind of did. So it's kind of hard to say right now, but I think definitely we'll get some. At least the faster MACD could help if you have faster MACD settings. We do have some momentum heading down here. So again, if you want to long, you'd probably wait for this to be negative infinity. I do see it coming below that line though. Again, because again, well, back then we didn't really have a lot of people trading it as we do now. So it's kind of a little different. The market isn't just based on what the president wants, right? It's kind of based on where the money's flowing into as well. So if we were just to say that, then I think we probably will come back down. We do have some momentum showing that we are heading that direction, at least for the next few months. Was that 6 months? So I think we could get across down. Happening, we are coming up high there on the RSI, the default RSI. We did have it come. Well, are we higher than what we are now? 50? Because we were coming up here before high, and then we dumped. So it did dump, and it did come up high, and then it did dump. A little bit dumped. Kind of stayed flat for a while. And then it did get below that yellow line before, at least. Did kind of get below to that blue line again before it got bought up for that run there, which is a huge, massive run. It's a little different now. Again, there wasn't a lot of retailers weren't able, like you and me couldn't just trade it, right? It was kind of hard. just judging on that, I would say we would come back down here for sure. Like between, yeah, I'd say we'd come back below that blue line, or not below, but at least around that blue channel, and maybe it would get bought up there. What was happening back there was some really sketchy stuff, right? Almost like, what was the word? Corruption. This looks corrupt to me. This looks like, yeah, we're gonna buy oil here and send all the troops to Afghanistan and just make money. That's what it looks like to me, to be honest. And then, you know what, we're gonna sell here and just shake up the whole world. That's what it looks like to me. Now we have a lot of more, like, everyone's able to buy and sell. It's more, people are able to get their money in whenever they want. So the president doesn't just have full control of the market. Based on that, I don't see it happening like this again. At least we did have a dump there, opportunity to buy, at least in that channel. Just based on that, I don't see, I'm like, well, I'd see Biden pushing some more oil onto the market, but I don't really see that controlling the market, though. I see the people controlling the market and the traders, and I could see that the price will probably come back below this line to there. But if we want to move up, it'll probably start from here. If we were to really just move up again and break this area, but for now, I think we'd probably come down over the next few months. So we'll see. We'll talk about it again when this MACD kind of comes up high over the next few weeks. We'll maybe start tracking it, and we'll talk about it when we get something like that. So when it's kind of when we're here, we'll talk about what's going to happen, because it's kind of a important part of it's an important part of life now. It's kind of contributing to the inflation and all that, so we'll kind of talk about it. Same with the default MACD. We'll wait for it to come back up, maybe towards Christmas, right towards the end of December. We'll talk about it again, and when we're here, we'll say, well, what do you think? And we'll do an analysis at that point. So hope that helps with anybody, and I'll see you guys next time. So take care.